My name is Bruce Slane, and in this video, I'm going to be continuing my commentary as to what happened to Jordan Peterson. And as I've mentioned, I wish the very best for his health and well being. I wish a full recovery for Jordan Peterson and the health of his family. I truly wish that for him. My beliefs and my opinions, my speculation, it's based on only a video that Jordan Peterson's daughter put out in October and a subsequent video that she put out afterwards updating on his health. I have not reviewed on his medical records or spoke to his doctors or spoke to his family members. So this is just my belief. It's speculation, but what am I basing it on? Well, and I'll go through that. If you watch the October video that Mikhaila Fuller put out, she said that her father was diagnosed with critical illness polyneuropathy. And we'll play that little section.
During the end of the pneumonia, he was diagnosed with critical illness polyneuropathy.
So the same processes that cause the damage to the nerves and the organs and the muscles in that syndrome is the same processes that damage your brain because there is a breakdown of the blood brain barrier when you become septic. So every year, approximately 40,000 people die from pneumonia, and approximately 350,000 people die from sepsis. So bringing attention to this, it can save lives. I think it's productive. I saw a video before Jordan Peterson ever got sick that was entitled, "Is This the End of Jordan Peterson?" And they showed Jordan Peterson shedding a tear, and I believe he was sad that his father passed. It was outrageous. It was rage bait. And at that point in time, we could look forward to seeing years worth of videos and content, lectures from Jordan Peterson. He was fine. But then I saw a video in October that his daughter put out. And when I first saw that, my first thought was, oh my God, thank God he's alive. My second thought was, oh my goodness, this is likely the end of his career. He'll likely retire from this, or if he's not retired, it's going to be more in a limited capacity, and that made me sad because if that happens, I would truly miss his work and his postings and his lectures. So, in case you haven't seen any of my videos, my name is Bruce Slane, and my background is as medical malpractice attorney in New York. I practice vaccine injury litigation in the Federal Court of Claims. I also represent mesothelioma victims and their families. I'm one of the longest living survivors of mesothelioma. So, why am I saying that Jordan Peterson has brain damage? Did I get that from a dream? Or you don't know, but you know, no. No, I'm basing it on medical literature. So if you go into the medical literature, you can go into any number of journal articles. And let me read you a quote from a journal article that I went into. And the quote is, reports describing human intensive care unit sepsis survivors demonstrated that the vast majority of such patients experience cognitive impairment at hospital discharge. So that is the author is Tatiana Barcello. That's from the Journal of Critical Care Medicine. And that author was doing a study on rats. They give the rats sepsis, and then they heal up the rats, and then they test the rats. And they compare it to other rats, and the rats don't do well. So this is in the medical literature, and you could go through any number of journal articles. So this cognitive impairment and hospital discharge. And so what's causing cognitive impairment? And you could go through further medical literature, and although it improves at a year out, there's memory loss, there's still cognitive impairment. So what's causing the cognitive impairment? Okay, go into the medical literature. And you could go into any number of medical literature journal articles on that issue. One of the ones that I chose was in the Journal of Neuroinflammation, and that the author was Nobufumi Suniko. The title, Sepsis-Associated Brain Injury, Underlying Mechanisms and Potential Therapeutic Strategies for Acute and Long-Term Cognitive Impairments. So Suniko cites mechanisms of the cognitive impairment in that medical literature, in his journal article. And it wasn't just his journal article. There's numerous authors on that from various specialties. So what they cite is the breakdown of the blood-brain barrier, allowing harmful substances into the brain, causing neuronal damage. Neuronal damage is brain damage. Ischemia, which is reduced blood flow to the brain, causing hypoxia and neuronal loss. Neuronal loss is brain damage. Also cites amyloid beta and tau protein accumulation, which is what you see in Alzheimer's, causing brain damage. So that's where I'm getting it from. It's medical literature, and does the brain have plasticity, meaning the neurons can reorganize and can adapt, and you can heal, but there's brain damage. So it's horrible. I don't wish that for Jordan Peterson, of course. And how do you assess someone with cognitive impairment? Well, like I mentioned, it is you do a neuropsych exam. So there is an expert on this that I trust, and on neuropsych examinations. And that expert is Jordan Peterson. He did an extraordinary amount of work on IQ testing, and he went into neuropsychological literature. He has done those exams, and though he's not necessarily a psychologist, someone that just does neuropsychological testing on brain damaged individuals, he has extensive background in that. So what could have been done to prevent this? What happened? Well, Jordan Peterson, he could have went to his doctor, and his doctor could have said, well, you probably have the flu, or you might have a common cold. Drink some water, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Or he could have made a doctor's appointment for 3 days out, and he was just waiting for them. The next thing they know is have trouble breathing, and they're taking him to the hospital. Let's watch a short video on what could happen. What happens in when you don't diagnose sepsis soon enough, or pneumonia soon enough, and it doesn't get treated quick enough and fast enough.
Meet Lisa. Lisa's husband, Jeff, suddenly became ill at work and sought medical treatment at a local emergency department. Sepsis was not recognized during the initial evaluation. The first doctor who saw him said Jeff had the flu, a common pronouncement when people present with sepsis symptoms. Jeff was still in the emergency department, though, because he hadn't been discharged yet. He continued to decline, becoming hypotensive and complaining of having the worst pain ever. Sepsis was finally identified when Jeff was in septic shock. He died.
So that's horrible. That's what can happen. That's what can happen when it's not caught enough. That's why it's important to bring awareness to such things. That video was taken from a video put out by the Sepsis Alliance. So it's an organization just there to bring awareness to sepsis, because they don't want events like this to happen. They want it to be caught. They want the underlying conditions to be caught, and steps taken to prevent the pneumonia, to prevent sepsis, to treat it. So Jordan Peterson could have just not had that chest x-ray, or they didn't listen to his lungs or sent him on his way. Well, what could they have done like in an extreme circumstance? Well, what is sometimes they do. So I'll give you an example from my medical care. In 1997, I was diagnosed with mesothelioma, and my right lung was surgically removed. This was attributed to asbestos exposure. Today, I'm an attorney, and I fight for the rights of injured victims. My name is Bruce Slane, and if you or a loved one was recently diagnosed with mesothelioma, call me. I'd like to speak with you. If you saw my commercial, you'll hear that I said I have one lung. My right lung was removed, and so the day after that surgery, the surgeon came into my room. She was considered a renowned surgeon. She was a renowned surgeon, one of the top in the world. Not by me, by other surgeons. So she came in, and there was a doctor following her, and she goes to me, breathe into the spirometer. And the spirometer is a device that checks your lung capacity and exercises your lungs. So I breathe into it, I get the ball up pretty high, and she goes, "That's nothing. You could have pneumonia." And she turns to the doctor to the right of her, and she goes, "Bronchoscope him." And then she just walks out of the room. And I'm sitting there like, "Oh, bronchoscope. Oh, okay, that's interesting." Well, a cart comes in within a couple minutes. A cart comes in as a scope. The scope goes through my nose into my remaining lung. He's looking into my remaining lung, and then he's filling it up with saline solution, with water. And then he's sucking out that fluid, and I'm coughing it out at the same time. They don't do this without being anesthetized. But in this case, this is hardcore. This is what they were doing. So they collect all this aspirate. It went down to pathology, I would imagine. Almost, I see it being taken out. They were running cultures. If there was a pneumonia present, they would know the pneumococcal serotype of it. They'd be running cultures. They'd on it. They'd have the exact antibiotic for the bacteria or whatever it was. So that is an extreme case. If that happened with Jordan Peterson, he went to his doctor, and then the doctor goes bronchoscope him. He'd spend 2 days in the hospital, be shooting videos from it. He would be cursing out the hospital. This was 28 years ago. I'm still like freaked out by it a bit. So they don't do it. That's one of the reasons why they don't do stuff like that. But that's an extreme example. And the other extreme example is what happened to Jordan Peterson, likely. So thank you for joining me on this video. Hit like and subscribe. I will see you on the next video.